During the refugee crisis of 2015, the media showed images of thousands of refugees making dangerous journeys to seek safety in Europe. But European countries, both in this case and more recently, only house a small portion of displaced peoples around the world. According to the UNHCR, the top 4 refugee hosting countries by number are Turkey, Colombia, Pakistan, and Uganda. 86.5 million people, the highest number ever, were displaced around the world by the end of 2019. About 85% of these people were located in middle or low-income countries, where effectively supporting displaced populations was already a challenge before the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Displaced populations who reach Europe generally obtain greater personal and economic security than their counterparts who aren't able to do so. One reason for this is that those in Europe receive greater amounts of financial support. The numbers are shocking. An asylum seeker in a developing country will receive US $1 in public funding for every $135 received by those who are able to reach Europe. This is a devastating fact that the video will focus on. It demonstrates that there is a clear imbalance in the amount of international funding that displaced peoples receive in each region. Securing adequate funding for refugees has been a global challenge, but especially so in developing countries. Underfunding of refugees in developing countries can have serious adverse consequences. Malnutrition, overcrowded housing, and lack of access to basic resources such as education and healthcare, just to name a few. These directly impact refugees' physical and mental well-being as a result. So, the question is, what might be done to better support the majority of refugees who live in low or middle income countries? In 2018, the World Refugee Council proposed an approach that Canada could take to promote such support. Their idea began with recognition that many of the developing countries that host refugees also deal with issues of corruption among their leaders, officials, and business people. While this corruption can take a variety of forms, the result is often the same. They take public money and use it for their own personal benefit. People who undertake such activities are known as kleptocrats. The World Bank estimates that kleptocratic officials around the world steal anywhere from $20 billion to $40 billion US dollars each year. Large portions of this stolen money are stored in countries such as the US, the UK, and Canada. The World Refugee Council's proposal aimed to leverage this corruption in the advantage of displaced peoples by reclaiming and repurposing corrupt funds. In Canada, this idea almost came to life in 2019 through Bill S-259. Canada is one of the countries identified by the World Bank as a safe haven for the money of kleptocratic officials. This bill would have given Canadian judges the ability to freeze and claim these assets that are discovered and proven to be legal. How would this help address the devastating fact from the beginning of the video? The bill would have allowed Canadian courts to return foreign kleptocratic funds to their country of origin, where they could then be used to benefit refugees and other displaced peoples. The specific details of this use would have been decided by the court and facilitated by organizations such as NGOs. Benefits of the use of reclaimed funds for refugees could include providing greater amounts of food, better shelter, and necessary transportation. By increasing the amount of funds that refugees in these countries receive, Bill S-259 could also have helped address the funding inequality identified by the devastating fact. While it had great potential to help displaced peoples in low to middle income countries, Bill S-259 did not get past its first reading. The election of a new parliament in October 2019 prevented the bill from moving forward. Despite its lack of success thus far, Bill S-259 could actually have been a viable way of addressing the issue outlined in the devastating fact. First, very similar legislation existed in Canada before Bill S-259's approval. The Magnitsky Law, for example, gives Canadian judges the ability to freeze foreign kleptocrats' assets. Bill S-259 would have built on this by subsequently allowing judges to repurpose those funds. This connection to existing legislation helped make Bill S-259 less of a logistical challenge and potentially more viable as a result. Second, while the proposed approach may be new to Canada, it has already been implemented in other countries. For example, the Swiss government did so in 2015 with their Foreign Illicit Assets Act. If kleptocratic funds can be reclaimed in Switzerland and used to benefit displaced peoples, what is to stop Canada from doing the same? What about other countries? If all of the major countries in which kleptocratic funds are stored were to do this, then a meaningful portion of the $20 to $40 billion lost to anti-corruption could be returned to its country of origin and used for good. One such good could be financial relief for underfunded refugees. For this reason, one can only hope that Bill S-259, or something like it, will be implemented in Canada soon.